joined by Cork City boss Barry Ryan. Barry, into the job this year. You were with the club last year with the under-19s. How has that been for you, stepping up to senior football this year?
Yeah, look, I think it's a big advantage having been in the club last year in terms of knowing all the younger players and kind of having a feel for the situation and stuff like that. I suppose it's different if you're coming in completely new. You're having to get to know everybody. So I suppose I know all the younger players. Was at a lot of the senior games last year, so it's been an easy, I suppose, integration.
In terms of Cork City, one thing that's probably been said, and I said it to Eva earlier, it could be a little bit difficult at times. We're having quite a lot of change in the structures over the last couple of years. You're someone who's coming in with quite a lot of pedigree, having done well with schools football and stuff like that. What can you bring to the job? You know, if the Cork City fans are looking in here, trying to get excited for the season ahead.
Yeah, I suppose, look, I'm quite analytical in terms of the way I go about things, and I looked at the situation in Cork, and we conceded 60 goals last season and only scored 18. Football is decided on what happens in both boxes. So we were conceding 3 goals on average per game and scoring less than a goal a game. So we didn't give ourselves any opportunity to pick up points and win games. So in terms of the recruitment, we've brought in a lot of attacking players. Sophie Liston, Stella Barakowski, Nadine Seward. So we're hoping that those players will help us improve at that end of the pitch. And defensively then, I suppose our big focus is going to be, without the ball, we need to be very compact. I felt we were very open last season.
You brought in a striker. Stella seems to be scoring quite goals in the college league.
Yeah.
What's she looking? How is she looking? What are you thinking when it comes this season?
Yeah, look, Stella's pedigree, she got 27 goals in the league in Canada before she came over. She scored a goal a game per UCC, you know, so strikers who score goals, you know, that's what you want. And Sophie Liston has played for Ireland up front at every age, 15, 16, 17s, 19s, and scored consistently for Ireland as well. So we're looking to the two of them in a big way now to take the burden off Eva Mangan in terms of delivering goals. But I think you'll also see it from Ellie O'Brien, I think you'll see it from Amy McCarthy, I think you'll see it from Nadine Seward, you think you'll see Heidi Mackin with a high output this year as well. So I think we're going to have a lot more of an attacking threat, and I think that's going to be vital for us because we certainly need to score more goals.
A lot of people would have said maybe over the last year or so there was a lot of interest in Eva, could have went abroad, could have went to different opportunities, and other players tend to, we've seen like the likes of Saoirse Neal and Claire Shine when they've been playing for Cork City, moving up to the likes of Dublin. How do you, or what can you do to make sure that you can keep the best players within that region playing for Cork City?
Yeah, look, I think it's very, very simple. Create a competitive environment, create a team that's winning. Because if we don't get ourselves off the bottom of the table and we continue to struggle, you won't keep the Eva Mangans, the Heidi Mackins, and the really good young talent that's in the club. We've got to create that environment now of a high-performance environment, a team that can get results. Because look, let's face it, Cork City is one of the biggest clubs in the country, and I think it's important that we don't hide away from that. There is a responsibility on us to get results and get this club off the bottom of the table. And I'm really, really confident that we'll do that.
Looking in from last season, there's been times where you've had some really, really, really good results and then go on a run and maybe don't have them, or have a good 45 minutes against one of the big teams and then sort of drop off. How do you look at getting that consistency to make sure that it's 90-minute performance or it's consistent performances for a couple of weeks in a row, for example?
Yeah, look, that's very fair. I think we went from week 5 to week 22 without winning a game last season. So that's 17 weeks, you know, and that's hard on everybody, and it was hard on the group. And I think when you go on a run like that, it probably costs us winning a few games in terms of the effect and the toll, and it weighed heavily on players. So I think we've just got to get really, really good at taking each game on its merits in terms of get a performance, regroup, have a look at it, and the following week get another performance. In terms of, I think, don't get too high and don't get too low. I think that's probably been the issue. I think maybe we get too high after getting a result, and then we definitely get too low after a couple of bad results. So I think we've just got to find that balance, that every single week we just get a performance and see where it takes us.
Considering it's your first League of Ireland senior women's job, you've had quite a good playing experience, you've had a good coaching experience with schools. What motivates you to sort of drive this group on? Because, as you say, they're coming in after not winning many games. It can be a difficult one to take. It can be a difficult one to sort of re-energise the players. What motivates you, and what have you seen from the players to show that they're motivated to want to make that change that you talk to them?
Yeah, I think for me, look, to quote Marco Bielsa, I need the blood in terms of just... I thrive on that environment of, you know, it's life or death, you know, and going to Tallaght Stadium, going to Talca Park, going to these venues. It's just, you know, it's all I've ever known in terms of being as a player and competing and stuff like that. And I think when that fire burns inside you, you need to be involved. And I wouldn't have taken the job if I didn't feel that those players feel the very same way. Like sometimes people look at it and go, look, you've been bottom of the league twice in 3 years or whatever. But there's a lot of reasons for that I won't get into now. But these players have the desire, have the pride to play for Cork City. But most of all, importantly of all, they're aware of the responsibility that comes with that. Cork City cannot be bottom of the table. And I think that's what will drive us for this season.
When you look at Ireland women's international team, played in Cork the last 2 years, looks as though they're going to play Cork again in June. Like, they're now bringing big games to Cork as well. Like, how big is that for football in Cork or football in Munster, that you're seeing sort of big games like that coming to Munster?
Yeah, look, it's huge, and I think the success of the women's team has a knock-on effect to everybody in the league. But in terms of Cork, Cork is one of the best sporting cities in the country. You know, they call it the real capital down there. You might try and dispute that one with us, but Cork is very simple. It's a really working class city. They love their sport and what they expect from their teams, whether it's the hurlers, whether it's the footballers, the soccer players, and Munster Rugby. They expect teams to fight for the crest and fight for the badge. And if we deliver that, the support, people will come out, they'll come to games. But that's what they want to see. They want to see that Corkness that's in the players and in the team. If you look at the hurlers last year, the wave that got behind that Cork hurling team and the crowds and stuff like that, we can have that in soccer as well if we give them something to support.
Last question. At times, Cork City crowds, as you say there, have dropped big, small, they haven't been great at times. What would your message be to all Cork City fans who are considering getting behind the women this year?
There'll be a group of girls this season in that Cork City jersey that you will be proud of, that we'll be proud of, and that understand the responsibility of representing a club like Cork City. And you'll see that in every single performance this season. That's the one thing I can promise everybody. You will, every time you watch us, you'll see a team fighting.
Brilliant, Barry. Thank you very much.
Yeah.